What's happening? We're back. Last weekend there was no fights, unfortunately, other than the Canelo fight, which was just brutal. I feel bad to anyone who watched that fight or paid money to go watch that fight because that fight was just horrible, man. Boxing, they need to work on their product, man, because it's just they can't compare with the UFC right now, man. Just can't compare. That boxing product is it's pretty brutal. I mean, other than that Terrence Crawford Errol Spence fight, I mean, they need to step it up. We got Grant Dawson taking on Bobby Green this weekend coming up, and it's gonna be a good card actually. They got some good fights on it, and it's good. It's a money builder card. This is the one you're gonna build the bankroll for the big pay per view coming up on the 21st, and that's a banger card. I just hope no one gets injured, pulls out. I have a feeling someone's gonna pull out of that card because sometimes it's just too good to be true, but hopefully not. Hopefully not. Before I move on, I'm going to show you guys my bet here for this weekend. If you guys need a place to bet, BetUS, promo code Iceman, the best sports betting site in the business. And let's see here. So I'm going to try to see if I can post my bet. So I got Grant Dawson here, parlayed with Joaquin Buckley. For the odds, I think Joaquin Buckley's got, pretty good odds. Grant Dawson, obviously, huge favorite, but parlay them together and you will more than double you will double up your money. A little more than double, but pretty much a quick double up, and that's what we're looking to do, right? So let's get straight to the point. Grant Dawson taking on Bobby Green. And not many people know who Grant Dawson is. He doesn't have a big name, but man, this guy can fight. He's really good. Look at his record, 20 wins, 1 loss. And that one loss came back in, 2016. And, since then he's just been on fire, man. He's got big wins over guys like Leo Santos, Nad Narimani, Jared Gordon, and his biggest win, in my opinion, and his most impressive win, I should say, was over Damir Ismagulov. Damir Ismagulov is really good, man, and the fact that he just, dominated Damir Ismagulov, won a unanimous decision, that just shows you how good Grant Dawson is. Even submitting Mark Madsen, the Olympian. Grant Dawson's for real, man. Now he's going against Bobby Green, the king. Man, I really like Bobby Green. I do. I love his fighting style, the hands low, shit talks. I think he's super entertaining. Even at the press conferences, he's hilarious, man. I like Bobby Green a lot. But unfortunately for Bobby Green, he's not fighting Tony Ferguson. You're fighting Grant Dawson. He dominated Tony Ferguson in the rounds 2 and 3. That first round was actually pretty close until the eye poke. Yeah, it didn't go Tony's way, but unfortunately, you got to take on Grant Dawson, and that's a whole nother task, man. And the ground game of Grant Dawson might be the difference, but we'll see. So I think Grant Dawson should completely dominate Bobby Green. And the thing is, Bobby Green's getting older too, man. He's 37 now. He's getting up there in age, man. All right, so I'll take Grant Dawson on that one, obviously with my bet. All right, Joe Fifer taking on Abdul Razak Alhassan. Now this is actually crazy that he's such a big favorite. Joe Fifer minus 500 almost, and Abdul Razak Alhassan. If you like him or not, the guy's got power, big power. And Joe Fifer coming off a KO win over Gerald Meerschaert, and then he actually grappled Gerald Meerschaert after at Fury Pro. Beat Gerald Meerschaert in the grappling match as well. Also beat Eric Anders in that same Fury Pro grappling event. And yeah, he's pretty good, man. This guy's he can really grapple, well rounded. His last loss was in 2020, I believe, to Dustin Stoltzfus, where he got an arm injury. So it's can't really count that because it was an injury. So. And he's taking on Abdul Razak Alhassan. Abdul Razak Alhassan came into the UFC with a bang, where he just, blasted away Charlie Ward, just crushed him, and then viciously KO'd Sabah Homasi, punched out Nico Price, and then he went on this horrible losing streak, right? He lost to Laziz and Williams and Malkoun. They just completely dominated him. He also has a loss to Buckley in there. Now, his last fight, he did beat Claudio Ribeiro, which was impressive. I'm curious to know why he's such a big underdog, because I'll tell you right now, Abdul Razak might be a live dog going into this one. He's got big punching power, man. He hits super hard. If he connects, it could be lights out for Joe Fifer, but I think the wrestling and the grappling should be able to get it done for Joe Fifer. And if you look at his takedown accuracy here, 100% takedown accuracy, which means no one's ever stuffed his takedown. He's got 100% of his takedowns. Um, yeah, I mean, I think he's probably going to keep that going into this fight. All right, Alex Morono taking on Waim Buckley. Now, Alex Morono's got like a weird style. I've never been really too much a fan of his. He's got some big wins though, over Donald Cerrone and Tim the Dirty Bird Means beat Semmelsberger. He's got some pretty decent wins. I know he, got KO'd by Ponzinibbio, and now he's taking on Buckley. I just think he's going to go in there and he's going to strike with Buckley, right? He Alex Morono's a guy who likes to strike it out. Now you're going to go in there and strike it out with Buckley, and I just think Buckley's way more dynamic on the feet. It's just a bad matchup for him, And I was super impressed with Buckley winning that match over Albert Duraev. I did not think he was going to win that, and he proved me wrong, beating Albert Duraev. And his last fight, he crushed Andre Fiallo, who's like on a 4-fight losing streak now. So not too impressive, but if you can, I think he's going to go in there and he's going to dominate Alex Morono. So I'll go with Buckley on that one. The Doberman, Drew Dober, taking on Ricky Glenn, minus 500, minus 480. What's the point of matching these guys up when either they are such big favorites? Is that really a competitive fight, right? I want to see a competitive fight. I don't want to see, just mismatches. And that's exactly what this is. This is a mismatch. Drew Dober is a beast, man. I know he got knocked out his last fight by the steamroller Matt Frivola, but before that he was on a roll, KO'd 3 people in a row, and Rafael Alves, Terrence McKinney, Bobby Green. Now you're going against Ricky Glenn, which is, in my opinion, a large step down in competition. And Ricky Glenn's coming off a loss to Christos Giagos in the first round. I mean, you're gonna get murdered by Drew Dober, in my opinion. Drew Dober is a good person to put on your parlays, that's for sure. Especially coming off a loss, man, he's gonna be hungry for this fight. Now, the only difference here, the large difference, is the height. Ricky Glenn 6 foot, Drew Dober 5'8". Don't think it's gonna make much of a difference though. I think Drew Dober should dominate that one. All right, next one. We got the Hulk, Ion Cutelaba, taking on Felipe Lins. So Felipe Lins is on a 3-fight win streak over Maxime Grishin and Oven St. Preux. He's looking really good. And then you got Ion Cutelaba, who is on a losing streak, 3-fight losing streak up until the win over Tanner Bozer. Now, if you guys look at the odds here, Ion Cutelaba, slight favorite. They're thinking Ion Cutelaba is going to be able to get the KO win on Felipe Lins. On the other hand, I'm going with Felipe Lins. I think he's been a little more yeah, I don't know, actually. I'm going to take that back. I don't know about this one. I know Ion Cutelaba, I hate betting this guy, man, because he's a do or die. He comes out with that, crazy look in his eye, like he's going to murder someone, and then he's going to either get knocked out or KO you, right? He comes out fast, bit of a psychopath. I think if it does, if he goes in the first round, I think Ion Cutelaba is going to win that. But if it, goes past the first round into rounds 2 and 3, I think that's where Felipe Lins is going to shine. Oh, I don't know about that one. I'll go with the under on that one, under 1.5, because I think this fight does not go over. 2 rounds. Alex Hernandez taking on Bill Algeo. Alex Hernandez, when I first seen this guy come into the UFC, the Great Ape is what they call him. He came into the UFC on a bang, dude. Just destroyed Beneil Dariush. He was a huge underdog going into that Beneil Dariush fight. It was his first fight in the UFC. Fought Beneil Dariush, who at the time was, a ranked contender. I believe he was like in top 10 or top 15. And then he just destroyed Beneil Dariush. One punched him like 40 seconds into the fight. Then his next fight, he had a tough match against Olivier Aubin-Mercier, who's a guy, Frenchman, trains with GSP and Faraz and those guys out in TriStar in Montreal. And then after that, he fought Donald Cerrone. And after that Donald Cerrone knockout loss, he just has not looked the same, man. Just has not looked the same. And his last fight was against Jim Miller, who's like 50 years old now. And he won a unanimous decision over Jim Miller, but it was just not impressive. You're fighting a guy like Jim Miller at his age now, and you're Alex Hernandez. I expect you to go out there and finish Jim Miller. He did not do that. No. Bill Algeo 1-1 in his last 2 fights, lost a split decision to Andre Fili, touchy, but he beat TJ Brown. Not too impressive. Yeah, this one's a toss 'em, man. This one is one of those that can go either way. Bill Algeo, slight favorite. I'll go with Alex Hernandez on this one. I think he should be able to get it done, but yeah, that one's actually, let's see here. So Alex Hernandez actually never fought at featherweight before. Now he's moving down to featherweight. Yeah, I think this is good for him. I think moving down to featherweight I think it's going to work out good for him. I'll take Alex Hernandez on that one. That's a tough one though. Don't get me wrong, because you never know how the weight cut's going to go. It's the first time fighting at a new division, so that's interesting. I'll go. Let's see next. Chris Gutierrez taking on Montel Jackson. Montel Quick Jackson. This guy's been on a 4-fight win streak. Even destroyed Hani Yaya his last fight. Hani Yaya has been doing the damn thing for a long time, man. He's been fighting forever. And now, so coming off a win over Hani Yaya, taking on Chris Gutierrez. Chris Gutierrez coming off a loss to Pedro Munoz. But, before that, he was on quite the win streak. Even beat Frankie Edgar, like 45-year-old Frankie Edgar. Yeah, this one's a tough one too, man. You know what? I'm going to go with the underdog on this one. I'm going to go with Chris Gutierrez. I think Chris should be able to get it done. He's on that win streak too. I think he's going to keep that win streak going. So I'll go with the underdog on that one. Johnny Munoz taking on, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but much more experience. Johnny Munoz, 15 pro fights, and then this, Arrow Kling, whatever his name is, he's got over 35 pro fights. That's a lot of experience. The Mongolian Murderer. Let's see here. Lost to Ayman Zahabi his last fight. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You see, he does have a good record, but for a lot of his professional career, he's fighting in China against nobodies and like the Kung Fu World Cup and stuff like that. It's like, okay, who the hell is competing in the Kung Fu World Cup? These guys even fighters? Like, not very good, at least. Yeah, I mean, I'll go with Johnny Munoz on this one. I think Johnny Munoz Jr. should be able to get it done over the Kung Fu World Cup champ, even though he's coming off a loss. But I'll go with Johnny Munoz on that one. All right, next one. The last fight I'm going to touch on. Nate Maness taking on Mateus Mandoka. Oh, so Mateus, this guy was on a roll. He was on a quite a good win streak until he ran into the Basharat Bros. And the Basharat Bros have been through this with you guys before. They are for real. The Afghan brothers, two of them. And Javid Basharat completely dominated Mateus, winning a unanimous decision. But, no shame losing to the Basharat Bros. Those guys are for real. Both of them are undefeated, just savages. And, take that fight out of the picture. He's 10-0. Other than losing to Basharat, now you're fighting someone much easier in Nate Mayhem Maness, stealing his nickname from Mayhem Miller. Not cool, bro. Now Nate Maness, dude, this guy's had a tough last two fights, man. His last two fights, Tagir Ulanbekov, who just dominated him, submitted him, and then before that, Umar Nurmagomedov, just a monster himself. So no shame losing to Umar Nurmagomedov. Tagir Ulanbekov, same thing. Those crazy Russians are for real. From Dagestan, you're fighting Dagestanis, bro. That's tough, bro. Yeah, this one is gonna be it's gonna be a tight one. I think this fight's gonna go the distance. Who's gonna win that decision? I think I'm leaning towards Mateus Mendoka, but this one's a tight one, man. Don't count out Nate Maness. Nate Maness might have got the rub too when you're fighting guys like Umar and Tagir. Those are tough fights, right? And now he's fighting a step down in competition, and that's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a tight fight, but I'll lean towards Mateus on that one. And there you have it. Those are your picks. Just a little appetizer for the big card coming up real soon. I can't wait for that one, man. But yeah, this one's gonna be interesting. All right, out.